Coming up next on Access Framingham TV is Framingham Fan to Fan, where we discuss all things sports in Framingham. Today we're going to talk football with the head coach, Harry Lesage from Keefe Tech. Stay tuned. It's going to be technical, run fast, and don't pass it. Hi, this is Framingham Fan to Fan on Access Framingham TV. I'm Dave Hornfischer, a Framingham sports fan, and I'm pleased to host this interview show, whose purpose is to highlight those who are involved in Framingham sports at all levels. We hope through this show to increase awareness and ideally fan support of these fun local sporting events, and also to help use sports to achieve our station's goal of building community. Today I'm pleased to welcome Harry Lesage, the head football coach at Keefe Tech. Harry, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Why don't you start out by telling me and our audience about your background prior to becoming this coach? What does it take?
This is my third year as a head coach at Keefe Tech. First year just Keefe Tech. The previous two was Marion Keefe Tech. Before the head coach, I was a defensive coordinator at Marion Keefe Tech when the co-op started. And before that, I was a defensive coordinator at Air Shirley High School. And then before that, I played at Framingham State College for 3 years.
What position did you play?
All over the place.
All over the place. Okay.
I played.
That's probably a good background for Keefe Tech.
It definitely has helped. I played fullback, running back, tight end, receiver, nose guard, D end. So I moved around.
Did you ever score a winning touchdown?
Not in college.
In high school?
In high school, yeah. Not last second, but
you have a memory of one of those things you're going to tell your family, right?
Absolutely.
And so let's just talk about the football program at Keefe. You had this co-op relationship with Marion, and then when Marion's now out of business, you lost
about a third. Yeah.
A third of your team. Okay.
Yeah. When we started the co-op 5 years ago, I was the defensive coordinator. We had about 55, 60 kids around there. And over the years, the numbers went down a little bit. Obviously, Marion closed down because they didn't have any numbers anymore, which, affects the football program. Sure. Last year, we had about 35 to 40 kids and, quite a few starters. And then they closed. We lost about a third of our players. We really weren't sure what our numbers were going to be. But we ended up rallying and getting a good 27 kids right now.
I think we have a picture coming up of a sideline photo, which you'll get a pretty good idea of the size of the team here. You've got 11 on the field, and you got about 10 or 15 on the bench there. Yeah. So, you obviously have a lot of players who play two-way.
Pretty much every player plays both ways.
Okay.
We use the special teams, kickoff, kick return to kind of get the kids, especially freshmen, kids that aren't going to get much starting time there on the special teams. But I think we pretty much have 11 guys that play offense and defense.
Okay, so what's your mix of players this year? You have sophomores, good.
Yeah, we have our starting offensive line. Our left tackle, our left guard, and our center are all sophomores. And we have sophomore running back. We have sophomores in the secondary. We have a good mix of seniors and juniors in there, a couple juniors, but we're mostly made up of seniors and sophomores.
And do freshmen get to play?
Freshmen do play, yep. We make sure that they're ready.
Yeah.
But we get.
Are the numbers of those that's kind of where, and usually an indication of the.
Yeah, I wish we had more.
Things to come. Yeah.
We had 5 this year, but we're hoping with the success that we've had this season, more will come out for the team next year.
Yeah, and you've had a pretty good record this year. You went from 2-7 the year before, and as we tape this, you're what, 4-3 now, and you got 2 games left, and
2 games left.
Winnable ones.
I hope so.
Well, one of them you don't know because it's one of these mystery playoff games at the end of the season that they have. But so what do you think were some of the highlights this year that in your season?
Season game wise, we started the season off 0-2, losing 2 tough games. But then we rallied and we won 2 games. But
coming after Alpha losing season, when your first 2 games are competitive, that's got to give
Oh,
you
yeah.
a message to tell the team that.
We talked about earlier in the year reestablishing Keefe Tech football. Back in the early 2000s, they had some pretty good teams, and then obviously they had to have the co-op. And we talked about reestablishing Keefe Tech. And in our first loss, we lost the last 30 seconds of the game on a Hail Mary touchdown.
Oh no.
But I talked to the team after about you guys did everything we asked for. Unfortunately, the score wasn't on our side, but they didn't give up. I think our running back, Miguel, number 2, he's a senior. That game, if I'm remembering correctly, had 180 yards, I think 2 or 3 touchdowns, and he played very well. I mean, he's the leader of our team right now. But, the kids felt good about themselves after a game for the first time in a long time. Even the games that we won last year, they were difficult. They didn't come easy. So there wasn't like, we were happy that we won, but it was difficult. Even with this loss, the kids felt good about themselves. And even the next week we lost, but the kids were starting to buy in and starting to really, feel good about what's going on this year. And then, we were basically 4-1 in our last 5 games, which, is pretty good and, has really helped the kids confidence-wise.
I'm going to edit this out. Let me just call
Oh,
it.
you're fine.
Anyway, yeah, so we have a couple pictures of some game action here. I was fortunate to attend one of your last games, the one against Monomoy from Harwich, and it was a very successful game.
It was.
Here's the, this looks like the, well, why don't you run through a little bit of the players here, who we got?
All right, so, this is pretty much our base formation. We run Delaware wing T. Our quarterback, Grady Kaufman, he started off as our backup quarterback, but because of an injury, became our starting quarterback. He's number 5 there. Jaden, number 28, that was his first game back. He's been a good player for us. He really helped us out that game. Number 17 is Rolando Velasquez. You look at him because of his size, he's a small kid, but he gives everything he has on every single play. If I had 11 bodies of him, we would probably be undefeated. Just the way that he goes.
So what's the size of your line? I mean, do you have guys that are up in the upper 200s?
No. We probably our captain Cal Martin and our center AJ. They're probably maybe the mid 200s.
Okay.
And then our tight end, our tackles, and our other guard, they're probably maybe 200 if we're with some weights in them.
I think we got another picture coming up now. I think this, if it's the one I think it is, going to be. Yeah, this was a long run. I think this was the number. Was it number 2 there? The guy you were mentioning. I think that was like a 40-yard run, if I remember.
Yeah, he's done very well for us. This season, we have 2 more games. I think he has about 700 yards rushing, 9 or 10 touchdowns, maybe more. He's gotten a lot of runs for us. I would probably say he probably has 15 or so runs of over 20 yards this year. He's fast, he reads his blocks, and when he needs to lower his shoulder, he does.
Is he expecting to play in college or go on to college, or don't you
I don't
know?
know. That would be a conversation we'd have to have.
Yeah.
I know last year he wasn't really thinking of it. With his success this year, maybe he is, maybe he's not. But that's something, as the year goes on, kids are like, yeah, I don't want to. But as the year goes on, they realize what they're going to miss next year, and they'll hopefully.
I had a show recently with the Mass Warriors, who's a semi-pro team that plays out of Wayland.
Oh, yeah.
But, I guess they had a couple of 19-year-olds, I think, on their team who were pretty good. And then I want to talk a little bit about your defense. I don't think I have a picture of that, but
our defense. The thing with defense is you have to pretty much switch every game depending on the offense that you're running. Our defense started off pretty slow.
Well, the last game I saw was a shutout. So something good happened.
Yes, we started, buying in and realizing, what we're capable of doing.
Right.
I think our first 2 games, I think it was 36 points and 21 points. 21 points isn't terrible, but I mean, the only time we really stopped them was when we caused a turnover. Other than that, our first 2 games, like, teams could pretty much do whatever they wanted to us on defense. And then we slowly started turning it around and, getting a little tougher, knowing our assignments a little better, realizing, we can play. One of the things, I think it was against Holbrook Avon, the refs came up to us and said we were the best tackling team that they've seen all year.
So tackling technique has a lot to do with avoiding concussions, right?
Yes.
And so is that something that you really emphasize?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't do any tackling in practice with a person. All our tackling is either on a one-man sled, we use dummies, and we use stability balls that really work using your hips and using your shoulder and keeping your head out of it. We had the kids watch the Seattle Seahawks the hawk roll tackle video that really shows, getting your head out of the way, using your shoulders, and rolling with the tackle. And the bag drills and the ball drills really emphasize that. And like I said, we don't tackle anyone during practice at all anymore.
So you have, you said 2 assistant coaches, you told me?
Yep.
What are their roles?
I have one's the offensive coordinator, and Don Marini, and he's done a phenomenal job this year with our offense. He's probably the biggest reason for our success right now, besides the players buying in, but the schemes that he comes up with and talks about. He's a big part of our success this year. Putting kids in the best positions, calling the right plays, and making sure that everything offensively is running well. And then Mark Hamilton, he would have been our JV coach, one of our JV coaches, a head JV coach. But obviously,
you don't have a JV.
Yeah. But he's done a phenomenal job of whatever we ask him to do. He's making sure he's doing it. Reading up and looking at stuff to better his coaching. Right. He makes sure our scout teams are right. He makes sure that the book's there to make sure they are lined up correctly. And he's done a good job of on the sidelines helping me out with the stats, helping me out with the special teams, helping me out with keeping the kids on.
You have to work with the academic officer of the school to keep your team academically eligible. Is that
this year we haven't had an issue. I haven't had any conversations. It's usually at this time some freshmen, the first year in high school that usually come and talk to you, come and talk to me. Coach Marini, he's actually in the school, so they relay a lot of the messages to him. He relays a lot of them to me. This year, we don't have that issue right now. There's no kids that have had to stay after for stuff. No kids that have had any issue of failing or anything like that. But so it's been good in that sense.
So talk about kind of building a football program. And probably a lot of it happens with the recruiting of students to the school, right? I mean, a student has to make a kind of a decision to go to a technical school, and I gather you have these open houses. The school has a variety of open houses.
Yeah. So I know the school throughout the year, and I think in November, they have different schools that I think there's no school on Fridays, and I believe that's to get kids, different schools, middle schools go there, to kind of look at the stuff, doing tours. And then we have open houses where you can kind of see different activities also with your parents and everything. And usually while we're there, we have a table for the football team. Soccer team has theirs, different sports. We kind of show our highlight film. And I'm there to take any emails, take any questions. I try to let kids know that we don't have a JV necessarily. We might have a JV, depends on how many kids come, but a good chance to play some varsity football coming in as a freshman. So.
Yeah, and the school has a great reputation for job placement. Yeah. And I personally think that community college. I mean, I just had community colleges on that. Them too. Yeah. But vocational technical schools have a lot more to offer people these days when plumbers are making $100,000 a year and liberal arts graduates are sometimes going on to waiter jobs or something. Yeah. Not to demean waiters, but they do a great job of job placement. But they also, their senior year, they have depending on what your trade is or whatever, you can co-op, where instead of going to your shop that week or whatever it is, you actually go out in the real world and you're at a job doing your trade. Like I have a couple football players
that one's in co-op for plumbing, and I forget what the other one's in co-op for, but they actually on the job, getting experience.
That's incredible.
And it's a good for them, that they get to actually work and make some money and do some stuff.
That's great. So as a coach, what are some of the things that you use to inspire your team? I think we have a little picture coming up here of you on the field giving a pep talk to the team as they're getting during a timeout. But is that you in the?
That's me in the orange.
In the orange shirt. Okay.
Orange shirt, orange undershirt. Yeah. I think this is we're on defense. Usually during timeouts, I try to talk to them about what they're doing well, what they need to work on. Inspiration. I always feel like I'm not the best inspire. I'm not the rah type guy.
But you have a message.
Yes, we have one team, one goal. That's our message.
Okay.
And we came up with that because we were one team together. With the co-op, Mary and Keefe, where we always talked about 2 schools, 1 team.
Okay.
It really was 2 schools,
right.
And by the end of it, you could start feeling a little bit. It was 2 schools, and the one team part was slowly.
Okay.
And then with this year, we just talked about we're one team. We're back to Keefe Tech football, and that's what we wanted to go with. And our goal was to make it to the playoffs and a championship. Obviously, that didn't happen, but we're still one team.
Well, you were close to making the playoffs.
We were.
You were 3-3, I think, when they had to make the decision.
Yeah.
And you said you just missed by a hair's breadth.
Yes, about 4 points. I think if we had 7 games instead of just 6, I think we're in. Or if we had definitely won any of the games that we lost, we're in. One of the teams that we did lose to, they were the number 2 seed in our playoffs. So we played some good competition. So
the thing I went to a game that you play your games mostly over at Framingham State.
Yeah.
But you had a couple at Bowditch this year.
Yeah, so we had one last week and we have one.
Almost all night games, Friday nights?
Yeah, except for this Thursday, we're playing at 4 o'clock.
Okay. That's one of these alternate playoff games, and then you have another one that may be home or maybe away in a week or 2.
Yeah.
I have a picture of the crowd here, which impressed me. I thought that there was a lot of energy there in the crowd. Of course, the game was a win, and it was a rather chilly night. I only stayed for half.
It was pretty cold, yeah.
And you were ahead 28-0 at the half.
Yes,
so
it was nice. The parents have been amazing this year. Cal Martin, he's one of our captains. His mother, Heather Martin, has done a great job of organizing, the parents and getting the parents involved. We've done a couple spaghetti dinners, or just pasta dinners with the kids. And the first game, the first time we did it, there was a couple parents that helped out Mrs. Martin, but the last one we did, I think, was before that game. I think there was 9 or 10 parents involved, and parents are always talking about getting involved, and which is really nice. Is building the community of. Is
there any fundraising that gets done on behalf of this, or or you have an adequate budget as it turns out?
Well, so the parents volunteer and they bring the stuff in. They cook and they might pick some stuff up for the.
They sell the T-shirts like the one that I bought there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We sell T-shirts at the game. We sold other T-shirts earlier. Actually, not the one I'm wearing. We do, this year we didn't do it, but we've done some other fundraising type stuff, but with, what's, different things happening, it's harder to fundraise, especially when it becomes, just the parents or the schools or media.
Is this
family.
a budget item for the school, though, that you have to, the athletic department is a separate budget, I would think, in the, in the regional budget, so.
Yes.
So are your players mostly from Framingham, or they come from all over?
They come from all over.
Keefe is what, 5 cities or towns? Or
I believe like there's Holliston, Natick, Framingham.
So do you get some of these kids that didn't make the great Natick team? Is that
we actually know.
It's a good place to recruit. Yes. Although you're not allowed to do that. You were told.
I'm not. I had to be very careful with getting kids to out of middle school coming to Keefe Tech.
Right.
Most of the kids that are coming to Keefe Tech are coming for that technical education.
Sure.
And we try to promote that technical education. There's a lot of good things happening at the tech school at Keefe Tech that we try to suck the kids in. And then I try to put my 2 cents in. About hey, if you want to play as a freshman, come to Keefe Tech. But we do have a good we have a lot of kids from Natick coming. We have a lot of kids from Framingham, Holliston. So it's quite the mix.
And you have pretty good school support. I was impressed by the cheerleading team. I think we've got a picture of the cheerleaders here. It looked like there were 7 or 8 of them, and the insurance company probably doesn't need to see this one, but that's what 3, 4, 7, yeah. And they were. It added a lot of energy to it. You don't quite have the band yet.
No, we don't have the band.
Or a pep band even, or somebody with a big drum maybe.
No, maybe next year. Yeah, the cheerleaders have done a good job of setting stuff up for the kids before the game. To run through the banner and stuff. It's nice having the cheerleaders getting the crowd ready and everything. So
yeah, it was. I just felt it was a real fun thing. So my fans out there in TV land, next year, keep your eye out on Friday nights for a Keefe game.
Absolutely.
So let's just talk a little bit about the way your league is structured. You're an independent school this year.
We are, yes. When it happened very late last year, what was going to happen was Keefe Tech was going to become the host school instead of Marion being the host school. But we were going to stay in that league. And then when Marion closed, we were like, all right, what are we going to do? What are our numbers going to be? So we had a long conversation about, should we be JV? Should we be just 6 games and end the season after 6 games? But, at the end of the day, we started picking schools that were either rebuilding like we were starting co-ops or losing a co-op, and we put a schedule that we were very competitive in, and we were very competitive in, and those teams were very competitive. So by picking being independent, we were able to make teams that were our size.
But you don't have a Thanksgiving game this year.
We don't have a Thanksgiving.
Was that a scheduling issue that did that, or?
Well, that had to go back with before the season starting of what did we want to do this year and accomplish this year. And like I said, we didn't know what was going to happen. If only 20 kids showed up, what was going to happen. It
kind of extends the season too.
Yeah. So with 25, we ended up having 25 kids. Could we have gone out and got a Thanksgiving Day game? We could have, but by then, all of them were already picked and already gone through, teams that would have been like our size.
Sure.
I know like Millis or something, not Millis, Milford was looking for one. We're not going to go play Milford on Thanksgiving.
Right.
So, we made that choice to just play our season, hopefully make the playoffs, and just, whatever happens.
Right.
Happens.
So the students, after they graduate from here, you think many of them will go on and play football elsewhere?
We had 2 kids in the past 2 years go on and play. One kid went to Anna Maria in Worcester, and one kid's actually playing at Framingham State right now. And then we have a couple kids. Well, I know one kid that definitely wants to play next year at in the collegiate level. Maybe a few more. As the season winds down, they're going to realize.
We don't have too many seniors either. So
no, we only have 6.
You play your games at Framingham State's Field. Is that something where do you have a certain kind of a partnership with Framingham State, or do they help you out in other ways? Or
well, no, they mainly we need a field to play at. Our football field at Keefe Tech we use to practice on, so it gets chewed up. And the 2 choices were Bowditch or Framingham State, and Framingham State has great facilities. It's also cheaper. It's a little cheaper to play at Framingham State, yeah. And they have great facilities. They let us sell our stuff. They let us, set up the concession stand, and they let us, sell our tickets. So more money's coming back to Keefe Tech.
You don't have any informal coordination with the coaching staff there or anything like that. I mean, they have a very successful
They
team.
do. I've had some conversations with their coaches. Not so much this year. Just the schedules haven't worked out. But they have come in and shown support, watched our games a little bit. They're busy. Friday nights. They're getting ready for the game Saturday.
Course, yeah.
But they have come out and watched some of our games. In the past.
Do you do a filming of all your games, or?
Yeah, we have a film of all our games. We have a wonderful kid, Sean Morrison, who comes and films all our games for us. Films some of our practices once in a while for us. So
makes me wonder if you might not have a film that we could even run a game film on our station here.
We absolutely have. I'd have to. We can figure that out, and
that could be kind of fun. We could maybe even sit here and talk about it while it's on or something.
Absolutely. I would love
well, that may be too good of an idea not to do. I hate to promise things on the air,
it's all right.
but anyway, so the team this year, you had a 4-3 season. What's your outlook for next year? And you have a
I think
you're more than 4-3. You got 2 games left.
Yeah. So hopefully we're 6-3
Yeah, right.
in a couple of weeks. We're losing some good seniors. A 4-year starter. No, sorry, 2 3-year starters. A couple solid players for us. But we have a good foundation. Like I said, we have a lot of sophomores starting this year. We have some juniors starting this year. So, a lot of our team is coming back with game experience. Hopefully we get a good freshman class, to kind of keep the numbers up. And, hopefully with the success that we had this season, some freshmen that didn't want to play or, maybe decided not to play earlier in the year come back as sophomores. That usually happens. But I think next year being independent and getting games, having pretty much the same schedule, we should be very competitive in and do some really good things. Our quarterback's coming back, our fullback, and one of our running backs.
Always helps to have the quarterback.
Yes, it does.
Right. So is there anything? Our time's kind of running down here in the last minute or two. Are there any things that I should have asked you about? That
I just want to say that the kids this year have been great. This is the first time in a long time, that the kids have really bought in. They come to practice. They want to be there. They want to play. They're having fun. They're working hard. They're joking around. And our captains have set a great standard for how Keefe Tech football should be. So I really want to make sure that, everyone watching knows that, yes, I'm the coach and we have the other coaches, but it's really the players that have really worked hard this year and have come out and done everything we've asked them to do.
Is this something you think that there's getting to be a little more sense of the football team within the school, so that you get more of a student body, people coming down? It seemed like there were a number of what looked like students to me the night I was there.
Definitely. The kids have been behaving in school, and they're wearing their jerseys, their shirts, their jerseys, their sweatshirts. There seems to be a huge sense of pride with Keefe Tech, not just in football, but with all their sports. So hopefully that keeps going. I know next year they want to have a homecoming game or a homecoming weekend, still building that pride in Keefe Tech sports in general. A lot of the other sports are doing well too. So hopefully, we keep it going with football. And
are you involved with any of the other sports?
I'm not, no.
You're just a football guy.
Just a football coach, yeah.
Well, Harry, this has been great. As I warned you before, the 28 minutes just kind of flies by.
It does.
I thank you so much for coming and sharing a great story on Keefe Tech football, and I think all Keefe Tech sports. And I think people out there in Framingham TV land and who are watching this should keep their eyes open for this and get over and see one of these games. It's a lot of fun. It's not going to cost you a fortune to get in.
No,
and it's a lot of fun. And buy a T-shirt and support your local vocational school and support vocational education in our community. It's something that's a great resource. Thank you all for watching. We hope you'll check out Framingham Fan to Fan. We're on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 8:30 and Saturday mornings at 7:30. So it's a lot of fun. So join us. Thank you. Good night.